welcome to the shop. We're going to talk about the GWS Tiger Moth. I've had this plane in my hangar for over 20 years. It's kind of special to me. So we're going to talk about three things, but before you fast forward to the flight video, just hang in there a second. I'm going to talk about these three things. One, GWS, the history of this plane. Why is this plane special to me? A little bit on the build. Second, all the changes I made to it. Again, this is 20-year-old technology and all the electronics were pretty old, so had to change those. And third, flight videos. I've got a brief flight video of what it flew prior to the changes and then got a bunch of videos after. So I hope you stick around. Again, if you like what I'm doing, hit like, subscribe, all those things. Appreciate it. Glad you stuck around. Okay, let's talk a little bit. So GWS in 2002, which is, a few years ago, right? Heck, Black Hawk Down and Lord of the Rings, I think, were the top movies right around that time frame. They came out with these foam electric planes. And for me, that was my reintroduction into the hobby. I had done it in high school, and now this came along. And so a buddy of mine and I decided we're going to get into it. So we got these quality, radios, which kind of funny, rinky-dink radios, and we bought these planes, and we started building them. The build actually didn't go. It took a while because these were kits. The styrofoam fuselage, which would melt if you hit it with any different kind of glue or paint, was pretty temperamental, but we got through it. The system they had in place for the motor mount was very specific to GWS motors and motor mounts, the geared motors, and I'll show some pictures of that here. Right up here, there's a couple motors. Anyway, so I'm going to go through a little bit of the documentation on the build, talk about that just briefly. Pretty simple build. 800 millimeter wingspan, about anywhere from 7 to 9 ounces in weight, a very floaty plane. Wing load on it was fantastic, but that's what it was. It's an undercambered wing. It's just for floating slow. In 2002, I had a young family, and I had 3 daughters. And there's a picture of me and my 3 girls up at the local high school flying this. I used to have another servo and a little bomb release and let little parachute dolls drop out of it, and the girls would run out and catch it. So this plane has a kind of a special place in my heart, and I hope to keep it around for a long, long time. So up next, I'm going to talk about upgrades and some of the things I did to enhance the plane. Hope you stick around for that too. Thanks. Let's talk about the upgrades. First thing is the propeller setup. I put on a prop saver. Probably could have put on a shaft, but I didn't do that. The struts were beefed up, and in order to hold them on, a little bit of fuel tubing helps with that. Heavy-duty thread routed through the struts, and a little plastic piece on the wing that came with the kit 20-something years ago. And seems to definitely work from a rigidity standpoint. As far as little knickknacks, put in little windshields with some plastic, just bent them, made them look cool. Printed a instrument panel that faded with with moisture. The tail wheel, I got to be honest, I wasn't a really skilled builder back then, so I just tried to make do with what I thought would work. So there's the tail wheel. Push rods, I do this on a lot of my planes. I use carbon fiber, little music wire, and basically put that clip on there, threaded, and some CA, and holds it tight, and it's a nice setup. The original geared motor was hooked on with basically a spruce rod that was glued into the fuselage in the initial build. I had to swap that out and build up to have more of a 10 by 10. So that particular motor mount on the Cobra 2204 would work. A little close-up of that. As you know, I'm going to look to figure out which motor is going to be best based on the plane and the style of flying and props and thrust and all those things. I'm going to look at the prop charts, and I'm going to look at eCalc to figure out the best solution. Pointing out just how I mounted the cowl with just little rare earth magnets that are glued to the fuselage and the cowl. A little look inside at the electronics. I have a Castle Creation 10 amp. It's an oldie but a goodie. FR Sky 4 channel and some Emax
I think they're under 5-gram servos. And there's the connection with the carbon fiber push rods, which really dropped a lot of weight. I do use a lot of carbon fiber, landing gear, some additional places for strength, and so on and so forth. A little flight video, some older vintage flight video of the older system on it, the geared motor. You can hear it spinning. Anyway, she was up at about probably 9 ounces, closer to 10 ounces at that point. She needed a little weight loss program, but flew okay. All right, more recent flight, dropped about 2 ounces of weight. I think dry, without battery, around 7 ounces or so. Very floaty, fun little plane. Fly around here for a couple minutes for your viewing entertainment. Hey, if you have any comments or questions about the plane, how it was set up, feel free to just drop me a note in the comment section. A lot of the details as far as the motors and things I used will also be in the description of the video. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day.
The thing about this guy, he'll hover pretty easily. Used to be when these things were set up with the geared motors, used to have a competition to how many loops you could do without hitting it before you smash into the ground, because you drop a lot of altitude after each one. Great little plane. Alright, let's bring her back in. Get some video, some good footage. She is awesome, little floaty thing.